Hello, everybody. My name is Angie Breidenbach. I'm the Executive Director of the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, found at genealogicalstudies.com. I'm super excited to be here with you today because not only are we going to talk with students about professional development, building your own businesses, answering questions along the way for that. Let's hope I know the answer. But I'm also going to share a couple of fun new things that are coming in 2025 with the International Institute of Genealogical Studies. So I want to get us started. We have, if you haven't been with us and you don't know, we have a new website that opened up 2 years ago, so maybe new to you. We have quite a few people that have never met our school before. So we have a little intro. And I'm going to share my screen, give you a quick little bit on that. And then also, just in case you are interested, we are going to be at the Roots Tech 2025, which is March 6th through the 8th in Salt Lake City. We will have a booth there. They've moved our booth, so take it with a grain of salt. We believe it's booth number 1610, somewhere in that roundabout area. And we have some super fun specials that if you're in person at Roots Tech in Salt Lake, here's the drum roll. We're going to have on the first opening night, they're doing what's called a green light special. And they're going to literally bring green lights flashing at your booth where for an hour to an hour and a half, people can come by and get a special that's only available in person. So I decided we were going to do a fishbowl game. And people are going to be able to come to the booth and they can dip in and pull out a special, which will range anywhere from $25 to $250 gift cards for anything at the International Institute of Genealogical Studies. So that way, if you are in person the first night of Roots Tech, March 4th, 2025, and you come by our booth, you see those green lights flashing, dip your hand in the bowl, there's one per person, a special. So I can't wait to see if you are able to be there in person, if you have a chance, what it is you win. So that'd be really fun. But they're just gift cards that you can use at the Institute. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that for anybody, and also maybe a little push to send you off to Roots Tech if you weren't planning to go. If you cannot go, the other great news is that the International Institute of Genealogical Studies is going to have a virtual booth at Roots Tech as well. We'll have a couple of our mentoring professors that'll be on doing the chat for us in the background. We're going to do some training with Roots Tech. I just went through training with them yesterday, and this all pertains to professional development because when you own your own business or when you run a business or manage a business, whatever part you play in that, you end up working with partners, and for whatever reason, you'll end up at different professional events. There's a lot of background work that goes into these professional events. So preparing for something like Roots Tech, which is the largest genealogy conference in the world, they're planning for over 1 million people on the virtual online. And my understanding is that it's free to go online. And the first place to go to register is going to be at familysearch.org. So that's important. But in the background, on the business side, there is a ton of work for a business or school to do. We are a private school, so we're technically a business. So what we've been doing on the background, we actually signed up for Roots Tech 2025 while we were at Roots Tech 2024. So we've been signed up to attend this event for a year. On your professional development side, most people have to sign up for anywhere from 6 to 12 months in advance for these professional events. The professional events, the reasons to go, of course, is going to be building your network, meeting people, making friends with people, building partnerships, which is something that I really love to do. I make partnerships with other businesses and entities around the world. I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. I don't actually know. I never counted. But the only way that you can really run a business successfully is hand helping hand, friend helping friend. And so we do this through networking, through events, through attendance at events. not just shaking hands and smiling, but truly developing relationships. Prior to this meeting today, I was just on the phone with one of those friends, and we're going to have her on as a guest speaker for the International Institute of Genealogical Studies coming up here probably April or May timeframe. We were planning some things that would promote a book that she's written and help people on our side learn about bringing genealogy to children. So those conversations happen like this, by Zoom, by phone, in person, out to dinner, over drinks, what have you. And going to these big events are a big reason for that. Then there's all of the little side meetings that happen at a big conference. So you need to plan your events as a business owner for those little side things that are happening too. So when University of Strathclyde, we send some of our students want to go on and get their masters. We have a partnership with the University of Strathclyde where you can go and get your masters there. And so Tahisha, who runs that program, and I sat down last year and had a chat in one of the hotels, which happened to be our hotel. Prior to leaving, we sat there and we talked and we talked and we talked the ideas and thoughts. And I really admire the work that she has put into building the genealogy program and genealogy studies over at the University of Strathclyde. Well, why would we partner with them? Aren't they a competitor? And the answer is yes and no. First, if you wanted to go to the University of Strathclyde for your undergrad, you would have to either go online or in person, and you would pay the fees that are college fees, and they're usually quite higher than a trade school. But additionally, that school with our partnership accepts our students for their 40 plus credits that gets you your postnominals, your PLCGS, which stands for Professional Learning Certificate Genealogical Studies, as master's program participants. So you have to get an A minus or above, which gives you what's called distinction on your certificate. And sometimes that's important for students if they need to get distinction and maybe they've got a B or a C. If they have that, they might have to either retake the exam or retake a course to bring their grade up. So there's some things that come into play there. If you're going to go for your master's, going for your master's is a highly competitive arena. So most schools want distinction and above, which means A minus and above on your grades. So we sat down and talked out all of those things for our students here. And we do have a couple of our students who have already moved on to work on their masters at University of Strathclyde. Super exciting. That only happens when you make those professional connections, right? So it's really important for that. So that's one of the things in the networking. But when you go back into what's the preparation for an event like this, how are you going to staff it? What is your booth going to look like? How much is it going to cost? How are you going to get all your stuff there? Do you have your hotel reservation? Because a lot of times for these kinds of things, they can book up months to years in advance for a large conference that's pretty regular like this. Um, one of the things that we are doing is we're testing a new hotel this year, and that hotel may or may not work out, but I think it will. And if that's the case, we're going to work toward in the future having a meeting room where all of our students who come in person will have a chance to actually meet in person, have coffee, have a meal together, whatever it is we're doing. Maybe it's just cookies and coffee. I don't know. But have a way to do this. Well, that takes planning. There's a cost to the room. Is there going to be a cost to the student? Or anybody who wants to come in and get to know the International Institute coming as a guest? Is there a requirement on can you bring in outside food and drinks? Do you have to go through a caterer through that hotel, which can be incredibly expensive? How long are you going to be there? So this event, and we're just using this as an example, is March 4th through the 6th, 2025. I'm sorry, March 6th through the 8th. So sorry, I was going to tell you the dates I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to be there March 4th through the 8th. The reason is my pre-planning, I have to set up the booth, have to make sure all of my goods and services that I've planned for it and parts of the booth are going to be there and set up properly. And I also have to feel rested. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I decided to go in on the 4th of March, set up the booth on the 5th of March, and then take a breather and get some rest. And I think it's really important because when you're at this event, You can't leave, you have to have somebody in your booth the whole time. And it's a lot of hours to be talking like this. We're hoping the voice holds out. It didn't last year. So I think it's important to also find out if other people are going to be there, if they might like to attend the booth for an hour so you can grab a lunch. So you have to do some booth scheduling with your booth staff. Um, there's a lot that goes into just the surrounding bits besides what's in that booth. And then we have to do all of the printing. And so, for example, this is just the back page of a flyer that we have there, which talks about the International Institute. But the front page is going to have, a special happenings at the booth and at the school for 2025. So that's pretty cool. But it takes a lot of work to write those marketing pieces. So if you are in our lecturing skills class, or if you are in some of our librarianship or some of our other courses where you're creating handouts, this is one of the reasons why we want you to learn how to do those handouts. Um, Sometimes you get a little bit zealous and have too many fonts and it starts to look too busy. And like I said, this is the back page, and you'll see this more. I'll have it online for downloading and things like that prior to Roots Tech. It'll be we'll share it. But the important thing about this is that there's a lot more information on the back page. The front page is going to have a lot more white space because we want people to scan and be interested and capture their attention. That's our marketing piece. And then when they flip it over and they get to the back page, they're going to see a lot more detail because by this point, if they're flipping it over, they want that detail. So you want to draw them in through your marketing pieces, one being a simple scan at a glance, and the other giving a little bit more detail. So now that we're on the website, I want to show you a couple things. So today I spent recording. I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear this and see this, but if for some reason you can't, it's over on our YouTube channel. But it's on our homepage at our website. I want to show you what I did. This is 1 minute and 25 seconds long. I created this video because it's going to be showing on our virtual booth at during Roots Tech, and they have told us they're going to keep it open through to April for people who have attended for the virtual sessions, which is really nice, which means this particular video you see here, don't laugh, but I think this took me 12 takes. Normally, for 1 minute, minute and a half video, I can do it in one sitting, but no, not today. I had to record over at least 12 times to get this 1.5 minutes. So I'm going to share this with you, and I want you to think about it as you're listening to it, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. And if not, I'll just have you go watch it later. So if any of you who are still on video will just nod at me when this starts so I know that you are hearing it. If not, I'll turn it off right away and we'll go at it from another direction. But listen to what it is I'm sharing and what it is that you think you would share in 1.5 minute introduction video about your business. Okay, here we go. My name is Angie Breidenbach, the Executive Director for the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, found at genealogicalstudies.com. We're an international vocational trade school serving students around the world, the only one of its kind. You'll love the course offerings and our expert educational experiences. Our new website at genealogicalstudies.com allows flexibility for adult online education while adding vibrant, memorable courses to your toolbox. We're excited to help you grow in your genealogical skills and your career. What makes us special? The International Institute of Genealogical Studies has a motto: we have grace and mercy for adults who are adulting. We have flexible and supportive educational opportunities and support through the courses and your life by allowing you that grace period of up to 14 days after a course closes to make a change or move your course. That's really helpful in this busy time. If you are a beginner through professional, you need continuing education, earning your credentials, want to become a personal historian or a family historian, we welcome you here at the International Institute of Genealogical Studies. Our goal is to support your goals. Come learn with us at genealogicalstudies.com. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. And I would like to, I'm going to go back to our gallery view, because if you have a comment, what did you think I did there? And what would you do in your business? Go ahead, unmute to tell me.
You gave a very broad overview of the whole system that really encompassed everything
What do you?
perfectly.
Oh, good. Thank you. What would you do for your own business having seen that?
I'm not sure because I'm working through the lecturing modules now, so I don't have a lot of experience to put out there to include. I'm not sure I could do a minute and a half right now today. I don't think I could do a minute and a half
It's really
talking about my business.
It's a really surprising how long a minute and a half can be, and how many times you can tongue twist through something like that, because you're trying to get across something that either, what I did, I'll tell you my little trick. First of all, um, today is not my very best day. You know, I've been coming off of throat surgery, so I have to keep stopping and getting a little tea and doing this kind of stuff. So that doesn't affect anybody else out there in the world. So they don't need to know that when I'm making that video, right? If you know me really well, you could hear the scratchiness, and I'd cough and I'd stop the video and I'd take something to drink, and then I'd go back in and try again. But when they're seeing that final video, what you also don't know is that I had to, of course, lean forward and back to start and stop it. So I gave myself a pause at the beginning and a pause at the end before I physically moved my body, where you would see my hand doing something like this. And then I put this little cheat sheet up, literally standing against my screen under the camera, so that in this case, I wanted to remember a couple of my points. And I didn't necessarily need to do it word for word, which I did not do there, but I needed to just glance and catch it now and again. It was very nice. It was almost like having, one of those little clear monitors that they have for the people speaking up at the podium, right? But I created my own just by putting it underneath the camera, so I felt a little more comfortable with everything going on. And I wanted you to have a couple of those little simple tips that sometimes we overlook, that the simplest thing can be the easiest, can also be the best for us in that day and time. And so you can see right here how I kind of accordion folded it. That's such a simple, silly little trick, but really by accordion folding, I can set it right here under the screen and you have no idea it's there. I can look at it and read the words if I need to, and it keeps my eyes closer toward looking to the camera, to you. If I had been off looking over here, it wouldn't have been a very engaging video, right? So when you're doing a presentation, you probably could tell that I was lifting up my head now and again or something like that. But it didn't look like I was looking away or that I was looking down at my notes or anything like that. So for a professional view of things, putting your notes underneath the camera is really helpful. If you're doing a slideshow, for instance, though, you might need to see what the slideshow is if you're doing it on Zoom. Uh, I have a second monitor, so you'll see me kind of do this now and again. So I'll alert my audience to I'm using a second monitor, just so they don't think I'm turning away to do something else, right? That I'm still engaged with them, but I try not to keep my focus there. I might do a quick glance and back. But keeping this where your eyes are more level with the camera is going to make you look more professional and engaging when you're giving a presentation. Getting something down to a minute or a minute and a half, I think that's really hard. But if you were to describe your business, to get your business description, or Tina, I know you've got your upcoming student lecture presentation, you're going to have a just free flow write it. Just free flow write anything that comes to mind, and then go through, and you can either highlight it or you can color code it or whatever. Pull out what's really striking you as this is really me. This is really what I'm going to present. And then you can use those as bullet points. And what I did before I went on to record was I read through this like 3 or 4 times. I originally wrote it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to remember it word for word, day to day. But when people ask me about my business, which is the school, then I know to tell them we're an international trade school serving students all around the world. We have staff and students in so many countries that'll make your head spin. And I just, rattle off like that. But we also have 14 different certificate programs that you can get your credentials in, and about 250 individual courses you can choose from. See, I have that right here. So even if I didn't have my cheat sheet, the other thing that people know is I say we're the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, found at genealogicalstudies.com. Did you notice where I did that found at? It is a sing-song thing for me, which cues me into what's the next thing coming in the sentence. And it gives inflection into my verbal presentation of what I'm doing. So those are some tips and tricks to help your presentation be professional. Now, obviously, in this type of a setting, we started today to do professional development, and this is a part of the classes that you can take. And there's quite a few classes that you can take, and I want to make sure to hit on any of them that anyone needs to ask a question on. So we're going to share screen again, and we're going to go to my second monitor. We're going to come over here and I'm going to show you once you're logged in. So this is the home page, but once you're logged in, and you can tell you're logged in up here because this happens to be the logo for my profile. Yours is either the gray and white person or you've put your own photo there. You would tell you were logged in. You're going to come to the drop down arrow at the Buy Courses and Books tab, and you can go to All Certificate Courses. These are where you can get all of your credentials. I have some super exciting news coming up for this summer that we're going to announce a new PLCGS credential coming out, and we'll have our first graduating class in the summer of 2025. But anyone who has met the criteria for that will also be able to request the PLCGS would also be retroactive for them. So, ready? Another drum roll. We are going to have the professional development and business skills is going to become a PLCGS program. The requirement is still 40 or more credits. However, in the professional development program, right now there are 32 courses. If you want to get your professional development in DNA, it has 41 courses. You will be able to get your PLCGS with that. If you want to get your professional development and any other certificate, as long as you have an additional 8 credits, you will be able to be awarded your professional learning certificate in genealogical studies post-nominal, and that will come into play starting summer of 2025. Super excited to share that with you. But now that we're here, let's take a look at something. We can view the package details by going here. And if we put our name in, you guys don't have this, I have this, but yours will show up and it will have whether or not you've taken that course. And then off to the right, you'll see the base price. And as you come down, it'll tell you the whole price for the package. Currently, this is a 32 course package. We'll add 8 more electives in here, and any of the electives that you choose can go toward that to get you your 40 credits. And if you've already got those electives taken, that's again why we want to make that PLCGS retroactive. I'm so excited for that. Why would you want to do that? Because in the genealogical field, the industry, there are a lot of people that need the business-minded person to be able to help them with anything from technology to accounting to systems to personnel, but they have to understand genealogy to be able to understand what they're doing in their business. And we've found when you try to bring somebody in that has a set of skills but doesn't understand genealogy, doesn't understand the research, they have a really hard time within the industry of genealogy. So we want to make that an easier transition for businesses hiring business-minded people who now will have their genealogical business skills and their genealogy understanding. So that's why that PLCGS will be coming in summer of 2025. So that's going to be one of our big announcements for Roots Tech, but it's also a big announcement for some of our students who may already qualify. So I'm really excited to hear that is going to be something that we have available. You already know we have our personal historian coming out. That personal historian will also become a PLCGS if you have 40 credits or more. Super exciting. And then we have some other new courses that will be coming out in 2025. And unfortunately, I can't tell you what they are yet because they are in development. I want to make sure everything goes through before I release that. But I want you to know we are always developing here. So right now we have the Italian certificates in finalized development. You know that. The Scottish certificate is in finalized development. Those advanced courses in both of those are being written as we speak. And then we have a Canadian specialist who is working, Drew is working on that. And Canadian Wills 1 has already been turned in for us to do some editing. All of these pieces flying through my mind that I'm telling you about right now are many of the pieces as a business developer and owner that you have to keep in mind. How do you track all of these different projects? And let me tell you, it is not easy because there's so many pieces to each project, let alone so many projects going on at a time. And then if you have other people working with you, you have the human resources part of that to work with, and then you have your accounting to work with as well. And there's a lot of flying pieces. So it's important that in professional development, we have things like business administration and creating a business. And then we also have your methodologies that you have to go through. And I find that those are very important to understanding how to work with genealogists, or especially if you're working within the industry. The business skills career, choosing a niche 1 and 2, marketing your services, which I talked a little bit about some of the different things that we're doing, creating videos for Roots Tech. I've also done creating videos, done that for OGS, the Ontario Genealogical Society. I've done it for the Texas library system. I've done it for Denver. I've done it for quite a few different events. And we've also done things like in-services where we teach only to that particular business's people, and we can do it live or in video. There's a lot of things to think about when you're doing all of that, but every piece of that comes together in your pie. Additionally, these videos, we have to determine which ones are going to be public, which ones are going to be private. So we use YouTube a lot. And in looking at the studies of what social medias you would market your business on, we're finding that the number one right now, doesn't mean it will be next year or tomorrow, but number one right now are those that have the visual video opportunity, and that happens to be YouTube. There are some up and coming video companies that are really helpful with that too, and that you can use for video storage like Vimeo, but you can also go to Vimeo and watch videos. Rumble is another one you can go to and watch videos. And you can see now, it used to be, Pinterest used to be just images. It's gone to some images and video. Instagram, images and video, and they have Facebook, images and video. So some of the top ones right now for getting your marketing out there currently are going to be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then TikTok was doing okay, but that one is so up in the air, and there's a lot of controversy around it. So I would caution you in doing your marketing there right now. And I would also caution you, just for the safety and security of your private and secret, information for your business, you may not want to put it anywhere that, and you want to check out the entity, whatever that entity is, find out who the owners are, find out if there is good or bad vibes about that particular company. Are there bad actors on there? Is there a lot of, I don't know, things that are happening that you might be concerned for either your or others' safety or business safety or personal information safety. So those are things you really need to take into account. And the only way you can do that is to do your research on it. And nobody day to day is going to be able to say this is good and it's always going to stay good, or this is bad and it's always going to stay bad. You really have to do your research to protect your business and those that you do business with. And then you pray, because in all honesty, nothing in this world is perfect. And you've got to do your very best to just try to protect yourself, your business, and those you work with to the best of your ability by keeping yourself as educated as possible, even though things are changing all the time. So I wanted to bring you here so that you could see this page, that you could see there will be 8 more courses added, which of course will affect this. But if you go to look at that page on your own account, and remember we went to buy courses and books, all certificate courses, and then we chose, I'm going to just back up to that one, we chose view package details on this one. I'm going to show you view package details on professional development and DNA. And over the next couple of months, we'll put in the coding and all the things in the background that'll turn it into a PLCGS certificate. But as you can see, you will see whether or not you have a grade in it, because the grade will show. Now I'm looking at this as a generic because I didn't want to show anybody's grades or anything. And as you come down to the bottom, you can see that this one has 41 courses. Something very important for you to know, this is the retail price. If you put this whole package into your cart, and I'm going to do it so you can see it happen, you're going to watch this price, 5,012, drop suddenly, because if you buy more than 6 courses, you're going to get a discount that's automatically done, a package discount. And here we are in the shopping cart, and you can see, look at that, the 119 is crossed out, it's now 113. You go all the way down to the bottom, and you can see that we have dropped $246, the equivalent of 2 to 3 courses, depending on which courses you're taking. And this is, of course, being shown in US dollars. I want to show you something else. Now that you're in your shopping cart, there is one more drop down here. Let's say that you have a different currency. If you click this, and we'll get this little spot here fixed that will show you currency or choose a currency or something like that. But this is a new feature, and I wanted you to know, as a business owner, you will always and forever be developing your website. You will be constantly making updates and changes and helping people better find or better get or be better served through some new feature. That's just the way of life. So I wanted to show you, here we are in US dollars. Let's change the price, and let's look at it in Canadian dollars. And so you're seeing the little blue line go through, and look at that. We can see it now in Canadian dollars. And that is such a help, because I have had people say they're looking at the US dollar and they thought that was their price because the dollar sign is used in Australia, in the US, in the US territories, in Canada. I think, let's take a look. Let's see if there is anything. Here's New Zealand uses the dollar sign. Norway will sell in the US dollar because that just happens to be the way that we'd have to do business with Norway. But now we have New Zealand and you have the dollar sign. So if you had no country code here and just dollar, then it would be easy to assume that it's in your own currency. So very important, we can now change the currency in your shopping cart. So I wanted you to see that. I wanted you to be able to see some of the things that we're doing here on the home page, adding the video, which is very helpful for you, for your business. Put a little intro video on. And then as you go down, I think our page is a little busy, but I don't know how to do it differently right now. There's so much information to get across. That's why I did this 1.5-minute video. Then if they are still interested, now they're going to do like we did here, turn the page and get the more detail. And literally scrolling down is turning the page. You can see our average price is $119 per course, and that is a credit with us. And then for continuing education, for every hour, every 10 hours is 1 credit. So if you're in continuing education and you need some sort of a course, and your course is, say, 18 hours long, and you're getting CEUs, then that would be 1.8 CEUs, or credit earned hours. So it's important for you to realize there's slight differences for things if somebody needs something like that. But here's another way to find our list of courses. And these are all of our certifications. But if you wanted to just go search for a course, you can just go right here and you can pop it into this box and find the course that you're looking for. So let's say you're looking for adoption, but you don't know what the course name is. Um, it's thinking. It's going to bring up all the different courses that literally have something on adoption in them. And you'd be able to find anything you need for that. It's got the description, and it also tells you whether you have optional course print materials, if there is a book that's required, and how long your course is, and how many hours you expect to work on it. So contact hours is how many hours you expect to work on it. And then you can read into the description. So the other thing that's going to happen is that if you're in your briefcase and you go to your purchase history, I don't think there's anything in my purchase history because I'm in my admin mode. You would find it here. And in your purchase history, you can click in to activate your course. From there, you'll also see that lovely description. So you can do your course planning. Don't activate your course before you're ready to start it. Because you just have to then have it open and you've got too many courses going open and you're not getting them done. But just in case you did do that, you can drop a note in the chat app on the bottom right corner of any page and ask me to either extend or move the course for you as long as you're still before, during, or up to 14 days after the course. That's our Grace and Mercy for Adults who are adulting. You get a chance to ask for a little bit of help, a little bit of extension. Life has gotten a little away from you. We can help you. Once it goes past that 14 days, that's our standard 15-day on after the course is closed. That's the 50% re-registration. That's also a lot of grace and mercy because no other school does that. Everybody else is, well, you just got to re-register and pay the full fee. Talking too fast for myself. So you will still get the 50% off if you have previously registered for that course and were unable to complete it for some other reason. That's a lot in a short time, and I wanted to give you all some time to ask questions. So if you have a question, if you want to put anything in the chat, or if you want to unmute and ask, if you have thoughts about your courses or you need help with something, that's what we're here for right now. If you'd go ahead and unmute so you can ask your questions, that would be terrific. And if not, then I'll be happy to turn off this recording. We will put this recording up on YouTube so anybody can watch it. We have a lot of videos on YouTube for our students. If you get your professional development certification, remember that coming up summer 2025, as long as you have your additional 8 credits, and do come and talk with me, do some student advising so we can really be strategic for you about what kind of a business development you want to get into. You may want to add on some personal historian, you may want to add on some country records, really dealing with diving deep into what you plan to do with your own business, because in professional development, we're developing you to be the business owner or manager of the kind of career you want. And that's the joy of genealogy. There is so much nuance to it that you get to do what really strikes your fancy, what really fascinates you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set this recording for everyone out there in the world to watch. And we hope that you'll join us again here at the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, found at genealogicalstudies.com. And we will see you at Roots Tech 2025.